I'd like to talk to you for a minute about metacognition at Stratford Academy. Why do we need to talk about metacognition? What does that even mean? Metacognition is thinking about how you think, an awareness of what you don't know. Sometimes, as teachers, our language to students can be vague. If you just work hard, you'll do well. But some students may work hard in ways that aren't useful or don't target the right things. So we have to help students analyze what they know and set better goals. So, what's our goal? We need to make sure that students feel confident evaluating what is working for them versus what isn't, what they know versus still need to work on. To do this, we need to begin teaching these skills to our youngest learners, but continue asking it of our teenagers. I want to share with you a few testimonials from teachers who are using metacognition in their classrooms. Michelle Fleming, 11th grade English teacher, said this: "One of the things I've continued to do is ask kids to self-assess their writing, particularly their timed writes. Since we've closed the doors, I haven't been able to conference with the kids in the same format, so I've asked them to read over my comments in Turnitin and then write me a summary of my notes, as well as a looking forward assessment. What should they continue to do, and what do they need to change? The rereading of their work has been an excellent teacher, since they have trained themselves to look for certain qualities. They can now recognize when their own work is lacking." Holly Wongren, world history, AP European history, and public speaking teacher, shared these thoughts. "I do this activity where I ask a question and then sit quietly for 3 to 5 minutes while I have everyone write their answer in their notebook. I get way more participation in the discussion that follows. We have a great deal to think about in terms of how we relate to students and how we can better understand what they're learning." In the lower school, Della Young, 3rd grade teacher, shared this: "There are 3 anchor charts I have in my classroom to help kids with their thinking. We did these together for mini lessons, and they stay up all year so the kids and I can refer to them. It's been interesting to hear the kids refer to the charts as they work in small groups together. As the year has progressed, they have become little teachers." Jill Pinkston, lower school science teacher, had this to say: "In 3rd grade, they are not used to having to refine their initial idea. We use books and websites for research. I stress to them that this literary work was not their first try, but refined and improved time and time again. We talk about intellectual property. Some think it's a progressive idea for 3rd grade, but I don't think it's too early to begin thinking about the fact that thoughts belong to the thinker, and you need to share your sources. My favorite endorsement my efforts are working is when I overhear them in the halls talking to each other and incorporating a science concept in their peer conversations. Great! They have owned the information and are making it work for their life." I wanted to show you a few visual examples from classrooms as well. On the left, one of those charts from Della Young's 3rd grade classroom, helping her learners reframe the struggles they face and evaluate how to take a step forward and change their attitude. On the right, a graphic from Mike McHugh's computer science class in the upper school, helping students conceptualize the journey from understanding to implementation, which will inevitably pass through struggle. I wanted to share one testimonial from a student as well, talking about his French class. He will talk about meta-mercredi, which is a practice that the French class used this year to reflect every Wednesday on their metacognition.
"I think Metacognition was good to have every week, about 3 months out of the school year, because we could take a break and step back and set a goal for next week and see what we have to work on. And it was good turning in a video to you because you could see that we're recognizing what we need to work on and just making sure that we make some effort to do it."
So what might this look like in a classroom? It might look like teaching students a variety of problem-solving and study strategies so that they can evaluate and choose what works best for them. It might look like creating time in class to discuss difficulties and progress, like the metamercredi that the student was discussing. It might look like frequent interspaced review of past content. Research shows that this helps students maintain their knowledge throughout the course of the year and know what they know and don't know, and what they still might need to study. 2 example activities that you could use immediately. This is called 4 Steps to Metacognition, and the link to the template is in this slide. Mark a list of concepts for students to know. The students will put a mark with a star for I totally know the answer, or a question mark for I'm not sure. When they've marked each item, they will fill in all the items marked with a star. Then they will look up all the answers that they've marked with a question mark. Finally, they will go back and confirm every answer that they marked with a star using their notes or the internet. It can be surprising for students that items that they marked with a star, they might be less sure of when it comes time to write the answer or to look it up. It truly helps them evaluate what they know and what they still need to spend time studying. Another example activity is called Under the Line. Students write down everything they can remember about a given topic. When they've finished, they draw a line and talk with a partner. Underneath the line, they'll write everything that their partner reminded them of that they hadn't remembered on their own. The examples here are from a French vocabulary review. Above the line, students wrote vocab words that they remembered on the given topic. Under the line, words that their partner had remembered that they had forgotten. Stratford teachers contributed to voting for 6 star learning questions, the questions they most wanted their students to be able to answer at the end of their Stratford education. What resources do I have? Where can I find answers? Where do I go when I need help? What are my strengths? When do I need help? What am I good at? Did someone else have a different way to explain it? Is there another way to do it that might work better for me? How does this connect to what I already know? How can I transfer it to other situations? What did I do when it was hard? And why do we do this? I know some of this feels obvious, so why should you care? Research shows that students, and humans in general, are incredibly bad at actually identifying what they know and don't know. We have to help our students learn to identify it so that they can have more success. Asking these sorts of questions of your students will lead to deeper, more productive conversations and relationships. And finally, Stratford's mission statement is to develop lifelong learners. So we want to continue to develop strategies with our students throughout their time here. One other quote from a lower school teacher that encapsulates why we should care. Whenever I feel that the class came up short or misbehaved, the first person's behavior that I examine is my own. How could I have done better? Realizing we want them to think, we have to think too. It is what distinguishes us as Homo sapiens. Teaching is our metacognition too. We have to evaluate how we can grow and how we can better serve our students in everything that we do. I know that you're already new, and this feels like one more thing to worry about. Start small if this feels like a lot. A little time spent on this is better than none at all. Experiment. Don't be afraid to try something that might not work. Get your students' feedback. See what they feel works for them, what feels valuable, and use ready-made resources. The document linked here has lists of valuable questions, activities, documents, and reminders surrounding metacognition. It may feel overwhelming, but use as much or as little as is helpful to you to help you get started. Welcome to Stratford Academy.